Hey yo guys, welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we got a special video for you. This is our end of year special. We're giving you guys our top 5 metal albums of the year, and this is just going to be like a kind of a podcast style video. There's not going to be much to look at. We're going to throw up some stuff on the screen here and there for you guys to at least some visual stimulation. But grab some popcorn, grab a beer, coffee, bottle of water, whatever you like to drink. Sit back and just enjoy. We're going to talk about some metal. We're going to talk about. It was a phenomenal year for metal.
Absolutely. There was a lot that came out this year.
So much metal this year. Awesome year for metal. And we kicked off our channel this year earlier in the summer, and we've been doing great so far. We got some great listeners, some great, fans of the channel. We really appreciate you guys. This is awesome. Yeah. But to kick this off, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a few questions throughout this video because there's some things I'm curious about.
All right.
But I want to ask you about album art. There was a lot of albums that came out this year. They all have album art. Was there any that stood out to you and that just kind of grabbed your attention, you thought were amazing or awesome or whatever?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. Because there's a lot. There's been a lot of really cool album art this year.
Yep.
Like so much really beautiful looking artwork. One that was really cool was Will to Power by Arch Enemy.
Yes.
That was a cool artwork.
Really cool artwork.
The skull in the middle. You got all these like this snake around it with like a deer or a moose head around it.
Moose head or a goat head or something.
It was really cool looking.
Yeah. Really cool.
And that's something that I didn't really pay attention to much when we were listening to it. But then every time I look at it, I'm like, holy shit, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
What else? The new album from Through the Eyes of the Dead this year, Decay.
Yep.
That was cool artwork.
Yep.
The artwork of that reminded me of Skepsis a little bit, which was also really cool album artwork.
I love the Skepsis album artwork. I actually have half of my left arm sleeve is Skepsis artwork. So no doubt I love that artwork. And Decay, it was also really cool. I love that one as well.
A third one this year that I thought was great was Incorruptible by Iced Earth. That's sick album artwork.
Oh, yeah.
And funny to mention that, as Incorruptible by Iced Earth is my number 5 pick.
Oh, nice.
Of top 5 albums of the year. Iced Earth is a band that I got into a long time ago with Something Wicked Part 1, and I thought that album was incredible. So I was hyped for Something Wicked Part 2, and it was alright. But then after that, I felt like it really dipped down. Like Dystopia and Plagues of Babylon for me were just not really good at all. It's like, is this really Iced Earth for me anymore?
Yeah.
But then this album came out, and I saw the old Iced Earth in it. I saw elements of Something Wicked Part 1, and I'm like, finally, Iced Earth is back. Like, the sound I've been looking for is finally back. And that's what really shot it out to top 5 for me, because I was like, oh, this is incredible. This is what I've been waiting for so long. Incredible.
Nice.
So I'm actually curious, what was your favorite album art of the year?
My favorite album art, well, you mentioned, the ones you mentioned were awesome. I can't deny that. The first one that comes to my head is an album I was actually listening to today, and that's Berserker by Beast in Black, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is their breakout album, their debut album. Pretty good album, right? It's kind of a weird album. I don't want to get too much into it because we're not like we're reviewing it, but it's still good. But the cover, it's freaking awesome. It's like got this lion warrior in battle armor, and he's got this huge battle axe, and he's just like in pure battle mode. Just really, really cool artwork. Really love it. Trying to think of other ones that really stood out to me. Kingdoms Disdained by Morbid Angel.
Holy
that was a pretty good album too, but that album artwork is just
crazy.
It's evil. It's got this like weird devil thing on it, but just the way the artwork's done, pure death metal, just really fucking cool.
It's really cool artwork.
What else? This one is actually my number 5 for my top 5 picks.
All right.
And this is Anti-Cult by Decapitated. The album artwork for that CD was fucking cool. It had like praying hands. You remember the praying hands with the nails all through it and everything? Really, really cool. But that album is outstanding. It's outstanding. It hits you in the face so hard, like a ton of bricks right at the beginning, and it keeps hitting you with those bricks for the entire time. You know what that album is like? It's kind of like the definition of like what it means to be short but sweet. Because that album, if I remember correctly, is like 35 to 40 minutes. Like, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
Less than 40 minutes long, but it just pounds. It just It's just crazy. It's high octane. It's in your face the whole time. It's aggressive. It's Decapitated at their best. Okay, Decapitated, you know, they make great music. They always have this really high octane shit. But I listened to Anti-Cult again recently, and when we reviewed the album, I didn't give it a toe tag. You did. I didn't give it a toe tag. And I don't know why. I regret that now because I listened to it again recently and I was like, wow, this album is phenomenal. There's amazing solos. The aggressiveness, the energy is just so top notch that, you know, I couldn't not put it in my top 5 of the year. So for those reasons, Decapitated, Anti-Cult is my number 5 pick for best album of the year.
All right. Well, interesting that you have that album grow on you so much. I mean, some albums, you know, when we review an album, we give it a week.
Yep.
This album has been out since like June, so you know sometimes it takes months for an album to really sink in and finally get to you and get to that level of appreciation.
Yep.
So I'd like to know, were there any albums for you this year that did not live up to the hype that you were feeling for it? Any albums that you were so pumped for that didn't exactly get there for you?
You know, I can think of a few that, you know, that didn't quite live up to the hype, but there was one specifically that I was personally super hyped for. There was other ones that I know other people were hyped for that I felt were a little bit of a dud, but there was one that I felt was hoping to be better, and that was Apex by Unleash the Archers. That was actually the first album we reviewed on this channel.
It was.
That kicked off our channel, and I had high hopes for it. I felt like, you know, before I even heard the album, in my head I was like, this is going to be a toe tag album, right off the bat. First album we review, 2 toe tags right away. Did that happen? No, it didn't. It was a little underwhelming. The thing that I think hurt it the most was the vocals. Not that it was bad. Brittany Slays has a great voice. She sings very well on the album, but she held back. For some reason, I don't know exactly why, but she just didn't put those high-pitched notes, those screams that I kind of came to love her for on past Unleash the Archers albums. She didn't do that enough on this album, and that brought the entire experience down a notch for me, which was disappointing. It sucks to say it, but yeah, Apex by Unleash the Archers was just a tad bit underwhelming for me, and I hate to say that because I was really, really looking forward to it, and it still is a great album, but just didn't quite live up to hype. But what about you? Was there any albums for you that didn't live up to the hype that you had?
You know, I really understand how you're feeling, because for me, there was an album that I was really, really hyped for. This was In Becoming a Ghost by The Faceless.
Oh, yeah.
I as I said in our review of the album, I'm a big Faceless fan, and I love autotheism to death. And I feel like how much I love that album kind of hurt how I looked at this one, because I was hyping it up. I'm like, yeah, autotheism was so good. This album's gonna be so good. Oh my god, I was so.
You were talking about it a lot, yeah.
And it didn't really get there for me. And perhaps maybe I did hype it up a little bit too much, but it didn't really live up to my personal hype. It was still a good album. It was still solid. And there were still moments on it that almost reached autotheism levels of enjoyability for me. But overall, it didn't really get to where I wanted it to be.
True. How about this? Were there any albums this year that we didn't review that you would have given a toe tag to?
Oh man, that is a tough question, because there was a lot. There's a lot this year that I feel like is toe tag worthy that we didn't even touch at all this year. Mm-hmm. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say, actually, you know what? My number 4 pick is a good example for this.
What's that?
This is an album we didn't review. This is Ultu Ula from Rings of Saturn.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I am a Rings of Saturn fan. I got into them when Lugal Key N came out, and I saw them live. Like, that's how I first saw them, is when it was with The Faceless, actually. They were touring with them.
Right on.
I went and saw them. They came on. They played. I'm like, holy shit, what is this? Like, whoa, these guys are Rings of Saturn. So from there, I started listening to them, and I feel like there's been a trend with Rings of Saturn that they get better every single album. Every single album, they raise the bar, and this album definitely follows that trend. Holy shit. It's the density of Rings of Saturn, like their personality is there in the album, but the rhythmic density is a lot more spread out. It just kind of slams a lot more as opposed to just constantly shoving shit in your face. Mm-hmm. But it still has like the weird, if you want to call it alien core kind of vibe to it. And I feel like it was a perfect clash. And this album is incredible. Definitely deserving number 4. It is so powerful. You know, I wish we reviewed it.
I did listen to it. I didn't mind it. I wasn't in love with it, but I think it might be one of those albums that if we did review it, I gave it, a week to listen to, I would either grow to love it or really, really hate it. Right? It's one of those albums that's kind of on the threshold right there. But that's interesting for a number 4 pick. My number 4 pick is an album from a band that, again, this band's been around forever, like since the early 2000s or late 90s. Never really gave them the time of day. Never really paid too much attention for them. Until this year, Mors Principium Est released Embers of a Dying World this year. And I decided, I'm going to check out the new Mors Principium Est album. And I listened to it, and I was like, oh my God. If you remember, I listened to it. I sent you a text. I sent Fish a text saying, check out this album. Thank me later, right?
It was so ambiguous. I'm like, oh, well, shit, I have to. If he just, like, out of nowhere comes to me with this message, it's got to be good.
I'm trying to put my finger on exactly what it is I love about it so much. The riffing on this album is amazing. The riffing is what really gets me on it. The vocals are really cool. It's just such an awesome album. It's just beginning to end. One of those albums that's got no bad songs on it. There's this one song about halfway through the album with a female vocal on it. I tried to look up her name, but I couldn't find it for whatever reason. But that's really cool. You got piano here and there. It's just like this blackened death metal that just gets in your face and just really pumps you up. And I don't know, man. I was really, really impressed by it. So that Embers of a Dying World is my number 4 pick for top 5 albums of the year. I think it definitely deserves to be on that list. You guys should definitely check out that album.
Yeah, that album's like a good example of a hidden gem of 2017. Like there was a lot of like albums that just went way under people's radars. Are just like, oh my God, this is actually great. Like why isn't anyone talking about this? Mm-hmm. I'd like to ask you, what was your favorite music video that we reacted to this year? Because there was a lot of stuff.
Wow,
a lot of new
music
stuff.
Video. We did react to quite a few music videos this year. Let me think. Yeah, there's one that I liked a lot. Code of the Slashers.
Ooh.
Code of the Slashers
that's a good video.
Was a great video, great song, my favorite song off of Red Before Black. But that video was just really cool. It was just evil and dark. Had these, first person view of these guys driving in a van and had that red kind of like murder view lens or whatever. Yeah. And they chase those people down through that field and then butcher them. And it was just really cool. And that song is just badass. It starts out the way it ends, kind of comes full circle with that fucking awesome riffing that's just really deep and chuggy, and just love that song. That video was awesome. Really love that. I don't know, man. There was a lot of stuff. What about you? Was there any videos that we reacted to that really stood out to you this year?
There's actually a lot that really stood out to me, like in terms of, something that really left an impression, and also that I feel had like a good kind of production to it. If I had to pick one, I'd probably have to say Steam Breather by Mastodon.
Yes.
That video was hilarious.
That video was great.
Mastodon always makes the weirdest videos, and this is no exception. That video
I love that video. I didn't even think about that one. Oh my God, that video is so good. Makes me laugh just thinking about it.
There was a lot like that I was thinking of. Like, I really liked the Phantom Anthem music video with all the puppets from August Burns Red. I really liked Yud by Igor.
Oh, right, yeah.
But
cool.
For me, what put Steam Breather over Yud is that Steam Breather was, like, coherent.
Yeah.
Yud was just random.
Yeah, Steam Breather made sense.
Random
Wait,
shit.
Did it make sense? It kind of did. It had a theme.
It made more sense than Yud did.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to jump right into my number 3 now.
All right.
I want to talk about my number 3. It's an album from one of my all-time favorite bands, an album that did live up to the hype this year, for me at least, and that is Cryptoriana, The Seductiveness of Decay by Cradle of Filth. boy, oh boy, was this not a great album. This was an awesome album. Cradle of Filth, they're still going so strong, right? This is like, what, their 14th or 15th album? They've got so much content out, and they're still pushing out great music. And that is a testament to a lot of things. It's just a testament to the great musicianship, the great songwriting abilities, all that stuff. I mean, there's really not much else to say about it. It's just a phenomenal album. I couldn't not put it on my list. And I was struggling on where to place it on my list, but I think the number 3 spot's a very good spot for it. So that's pretty much it. With that said, I'm just saying that, yeah.
Well, I find it funny that you have Cradle of Filth's new album as number 3. Because...
You find it funny that I have Cradle of Filth on there?
No, I find it funny that you have it as number 3.
Oh.
Because my number 3 is the same album.
Oh, nice.
It's also Cradle of Filth.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Cool. For me, like, I have a different perspective of putting this at number 3 than you do. You've been a fan of this band for many, many years.
Yep.
I got into this band this year. When we reviewed Damnation and a Day, thought that album was phenomenal. And then this album came out, and I listened to it. Phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Blew my socks off.
Wow, yeah.
Incredible album. And, you know, as you said, they are still going strong. There was a lot of elements of this album that I feel you could compare to, like, old Cradle from the era of Damnation or Midian, etc.
Yep.
So I feel this is definitely deserving of the number 3 spot because, wow, it was such an impressive album. That's coming from someone who is a seasoned veteran of listening to Cradle and someone who's brand new listening to Cradle this year.
Right on. So both of our number 3 picks are the same. That's very interesting. I have another question for you.
All right.
I want to know if there's any albums this year that you think were just a complete disaster. Like a complete utter disaster.
Well, I could think of a few.
I'm thinking of one specifically. And I think you know what it is.
All right. What is it?
On 3. Let's say it on 3. We'll see if we're thinking of the same thing.
Well,
okay?
We'll see. All right.
1, 2, 3. Suicide Silence. That album was so bad. What were they thinking? What were they thinking?
That was a complete mess. That album was like...
It was
not even the same band.
It wasn't. I mean, they get a new singer, and all of a sudden the band goes down the drain. You know what? Suicide Silence gets a lot of flack. They get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate for liking Suicide Silence, and I don't care. I really like that band before. During Mitch Lucker area, I love Suicide Silence. Now, they got Eddie Hermida. He just is wrecking this band.
But the thing is, though, like, You Can't Stop Me was not that bad.
It wasn't that bad. It was bad, though, but not that bad. So there's a thing, right? But, yeah, that, I mean...
But
dude,
it's like not even the same band anymore.
Not even the same band. It sounds completely different.
It's a new metal band now. It's not even...
Such a disaster.
The deathcore giant that Suicide Silence used to be.
It's funny we were both thinking of the same thing, though. But that's why I asked that question. And you know what? Here's another one. I know you're going to have the same answer to this one. What about worst album art of the year?
All right, worst album art.
Worst album art.
Okay.
I know what I'm thinking. I know you're thinking the same thing.
All right, on 3.
On 3? 1, 2, 3. Trivium.
God.
So easy. Yo, it was basically like a maroon cover with a triangle in the middle of it. Like a little squiggly triangle thing.
I mean, it was cool. It kind of looked like fire, but still, it was just a triangle.
Yeah.
Especially after artwork like Vengeance Falls and Silence in the Snow and stuff like that.
What are they thinking? Like these guys are a highly established band. They can't hire somebody to get good artwork. Like, is there a purpose behind that?
They had good artwork for the last few.
I know. I don't get it.
So why fuck it
Very
up?
disappointing. I like album artwork, which is why we've been talking about it in this video, but that album artwork was just abysmal. I knew you were going to say that. That was hilarious. I love that.
I'm going to talk about my number 2 album of the year.
You got to jump into number 2? Okay,
I'm going to jump right into number 2.
All right, give it.
This album is from a band that I feel has grown so much since I discovered them. I discovered them through you, actually. This band is insane. I'm going to give number 2 to Carach Angren with Dance and Laugh Amongst the Rot. What are you laughing about?
I'll tell you in a minute why I'm laughing.
All right. Anyway, this album was nuts. This was one of our earliest album reviews.
Yep.
It was back in like June when this album came out.
Yep.
And it's December now. I listened to this album again, every single track. Holy shit, blowing my mind. Like, even a song like 3 Times Thunder Strikes, I completely forgot about. But then I listened to it again. I'm like, how the hell did I forget this song? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like, that album is a trip. And well deserving of number 2, Carach and Angren still growing more and more with each album they release. It's crazy. These guys are definitely incredible.
Let me tell you why I laughed when you said that.
All right.
I laughed because my number 2 album is also Dancing Laugh Amongst the Ride.
Well.
So we had the same number 3, we had the same number 2. What a surprise. No, but seriously, honestly, Carach and Angren back at it again with another phenomenal album. These guys do not make bad music. There's something that's so refreshing about this band. Every time I listen to them, they got this creativity about them that I just really, really love. Like you just said, you listened to this album recently. Every song pounds. I listened to it. I'm like, this is awesome. That's awesome. Like the breakdown in Blood Queen, it's stuck in my head right now. I can hear it in my head, and I'm just like, yes. Like I just want to, just go.
You want to throw something.
Throw something, or throw down, or whatever. We actually saw these guys live about a month ago.
Incredible show.
These guys are phenomenal on stage. It was our first time seeing them. We got to meet them. They're great guys. And, they're so tight and so clean. They got great stage presence, great performance. Just all around as a band, these guys are ahead of the game, in my opinion. As far as everything else that's going on in metal right now, these guys are a little bit ahead of almost everybody in a certain way. Dance and Laugh Amongst the Rotten definitely deserves my number 2 spot on my top 5 albums of 2017. So one more question.
All right.
I got one more question for you.
Final question.
Are you a fan? Okay, let me try to rephrase this. Is there an album that came out this year from a band that you weren't a fan of before, but now you're a fan of the band because of the new album?
That's a good question. As I said, I feel like there's a lot of metal that went under people's radars.
Yep.
And there's a lot that I've had my mind opened up to this year. But I feel like the best one to say is the album that is my number 1 of 2017.
Oh, no. What is it?
My number 1 metal album of 2017, which is also the answer to this question, is The Sin and the Sentence by Trivium.
Oh.
This album, I feel like, did the same thing to me as the Carach and Angren album, but like twofold.
Wow.
This album, every track, oh my god. And I found it funny that we first listened to the title track when we reacted to the music video. We both didn't even like it at all. We're like,
exactly.
Oh, his vocals sound weird. I like the drums. We were so skeptical of it. And then the Heart From Your Hate came out and we're like, oh yeah, wow, this is great. The album came out. We were both blown away.
Yep.
This album, oh my god. I love it every single time I listen to it. It will not get old for me. And, before I wasn't really a fan of this band. You, a few years ago, gave me a few Trivium albums to check out, like Shogun, Ascendancy, and The Crusade. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's all right, but, it wasn't really clicking with me. So then I didn't really listen to Trivium after that. And then this album came out, blew my socks off. I'm like, oh my god, like, what have I been missing out on? These guys are incredible, well-deserving of number 1 spot for me for this year.
Well, I find it rather funny that our number 3 album was the same.
Oh boy.
Our number 2 album was the same.
Let me guess.
And you know what? I'm all out of laughs because this isn't funny anymore.
Is our number 1 album the same?
My number 1 album of 2017 is The Sin and the Sentence by Trivium. No doubt. And you know what? I don't blame you for picking that as your number 1 because it is such an awesome album. Like, I don't know. You pretty much said everything that needs to be said. A lot of people, when we reviewed the album, we reviewed, a couple of the videos and all that stuff. People are saying, this is the best album since Shogun. That was one of the most common comments we got. Best album since Shogun. Some people said best album since Ascendancy and so forth and so forth. To me, this is just best album, period, by Trivium.
Just number 1.
This album is better than Shogun. It's better than Ascendancy. It's better than Crusade. Better than everything else. This album, they went above and beyond. Matt sounds amazing. We shat all over his vocals during the Sin in the Sentence video.
We were stupid.
Because once the album came out and I listened to it more and more, I was like, no, he's nailing it.
Like he's on point.
He's on point. I don't know what I was expecting or what I was thinking when we watched that video, but he is on point. The riffs, the solos, just everything on this album is just phenomenal. I mean, it's easily deserving of the number one pick. And you know what? I've seen a bunch of people's top 5s, for the year, top 10s even, and I'm barely seeing this on anybody's list. And that really, really, really surprises me. Surprises me. But that's it. Good. That's my top 5 and TV Fish's top 5. But there's so much stuff that came out this year. We got to throw some honorable mentions out.
Oh yeah,
we got to throw some honorable mentions out. So give me a few other albums that came out this year that you think maybe just didn't make the cut.
All right. Well, one for sure I'd like to mention is Mastodon's newest album, Emperor of Sand.
Yep.
Now, as I said in our Blood Mountain review for Mastodon, this band does not make a bad album. They never do, they never have, and I don't think they ever will. This album is good. I was listening to it today. Holy shit, this album's great. I could just put it on and enjoy it the full length through.
Yep.
But I don't feel like it was really breaking the boundary for me. Would I give it a toe tag? I don't know. I feel like I might barely not. Because does it hit me the way Blood Mountain does?
We just reviewed Blood Mountain. We gave it 2 toe tags.
Exactly. I don't feel like it's at the level that an album like Blood Mountain is.
Me too. I agree.
It's definitely like an album that's notable. I enjoyed listening to it. It was really fun. Also, to mention the EP that came out this year, Cold Dark Place, I thought was incredible. Yep. It was only 4 songs. Wow. Yep. I thought the atmosphere created on that album was incredible, and I feel like because those songs were taken from the last 2 albums, like during the sessions of this and Once More Around the Sun, both of those albums would be better if they had these songs included.
True.
Incredible EP. Just thought I'd mention that, but Emperor Sand, definitely an honorable mention.
What else?
Another one that I feel like just barely didn't make it to top 5 for me was In Becoming a Ghost by the Faceless. I talked about this album already a little bit.
Yep.
But I believe I gave it like 7 or 7.5. I gave it a really close score to a toe tag because I didn't feel like it broke the boundary like Autotheism did.
Yep.
But I still felt like it was enjoyable. Like songs like Black Star and The Spiraling Void I thought were incredible. And I had a ton of fun listening to those when we were checking it out for a week. So it's still an album to check out.
Yeah.
I think it's good enough to, be a mention, but I don't think it's good enough for top 5.
True.
Another album that actually received 2 toe tags this year that I felt couldn't really get into top 5 for me was Heaven Upside Down by Marilyn Manson.
Oh, what a great album.
It was a fantastic album.
Awesome.
It sounded great, but comparing it to other albums that made it to my top 5, like Rings of Saturn, like Iced Earth, etc., I don't feel like it's at the level that they are, but it's still a toe tag level album.
True.
Like, it's still totally solid. I thought it sounded great.
See, there's a different reason I didn't put it in my top 5. I don't think Marilyn Manson quite fits the genre of metal enough. Like, when I'm making a top 5 metal albums of 2017, it might be one of my top 5 albums in general, but top 5 metal albums, I find Manson's more along the pop line.
Yeah,
I don't want to say he's pop music because he's kind of like industrial, alternative, shock rock, whatever, right?
Very ambiguous with what like kind of genre.
Yeah, it's hard to place him, but I don't put him in like metal. Like you don't hear like heavy riffing and guitar solos. I guess you kind of do though.
You kind of do in some.
You kind of do in some songs, right? So yeah, he kind of fits the genre, but kind of doesn't. But I felt like there was like some more deserving bands, albums that deserved it. But Heaven Upside Down was a great album. Holy crap.
Definitely.
Great work. Manson came back with a vengeance this year. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
If I were to pick one more album I'd put as an honorable mention, I'd probably have to say Ex Deo's new album.
Oh, nice.
The Immortal Wars.
Yeah.
I first heard of this band after we checked out the music video for I Caligula.
Yep.
And that album... Well, I Caligula is not from this album, but this album actually impressed me a lot. I listened to it, I'm like, holy shit.
Yep.
There's another album I wish we reviewed because I was actually really impressed. Just listening to the whole thing, I'm like, wow. These guys put a lot into it. Jeez.
I felt like such an idiot because I remember when we did the reaction video to I Caligula, and I'm sitting there going, I bet these guys are from South America because of the singer's accent. Little do I know, these guys are from Canada. I feel like such an idiot. Maybe he's like throwing an accent on there or something, I don't know. But somebody in the comments section said that they're from Canada and also let us know that it's basically Cataclysm as a side project with the keyboard added. And somebody also said that the keyboardists, or they got the keyboardists from Carach and Angren to do some of the keyboard work on the album, which I thought was pretty interesting.
That's cool.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what somebody in our comments said. But yeah, I think that album's pretty cool too. I really like that as well.
Yeah, I like the theming of the band too, all the Roman stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So are there any albums for you you'd say would be honorable mention?
Oh yeah, of course.
Barely didn't make it.
You know what? There's, like we said already, there's so much good metal that came out this year. Like, 2017 was like the year for heavy metal. Like, it's just so much stuff. It's hard to even think. Like, I'm forgetting bands. I'm constantly going, oh yeah, that one. Oh yeah, that one. Oh yeah, that one. But there was a couple that stand out, and they were close to making my top 5 list, but didn't quite make it. Dismas by Through the Eyes of the Dead. Not only is this band completely underrated and not talked about enough, but the album is awesome. And unfortunately, the reason why I didn't put this on my top 5 is probably because I haven't spent enough time with the album yet. I've listened to it a few times, but I just haven't got around to giving it a really true, honest listen and really put judgment into it. But from what I've heard, it still sounds like the same old Through the Eyes of the Dead. This is one of those bands like the Faceless. They put an album out like they go on hiatus all the time, basically. Like, their last album was like Skepsis from 2010 or 2011.
Yeah, like 7 years ago.
Yeah, like ridiculous. But they might have done some lineup changes or something. I don't know. I might have to look that up. But from what I hear, it still sounds super fast, super heavy. I shouldn't say fast. They're not really that fast, but it's super heavy. They got that original sound. Just, these guys are one of the OG deathcore bands. Like, before deathcore was a genre, these guys were playing deathcore. Along with, the Black Dahlia Murder, Job for a Cowboy, kind of like, basically they bridged the gap between traditional, like, technical death metal and what deathcore became when, like, Whitechapel and Suicide Silence and Carnifex all came out and started, doing the deathcore thing. But really love that album. Another album that I would say deserves an honorable mention is the one that I keep seeing on people's top 5s list or top 10 lists or whatever. And I didn't put it on my top 5 only because there's 5 more deserving albums. But this was really close. And this is Nightmare Logic by Power Trip. This album slays, right? If you want a fucking solid, this is probably the best thrash album of the year.
Yeah.
Right? We had what else came out? Like Overkill came out.
Yeah, Overkill. Can't really think of much else off the top
Obituary to me sounds very thrashy. I know they're classified as death metal, but to me they're very thrashy. So I don't know, maybe classify that in there. But anyways, Nightmare Logic is fast, thrashy, high octane, in your face. Every song's great from beginning to end. These guys probably put on an amazing performance live, but definitely worth an honorable mention. Anything else? One more comes to mind off the top of my head, and that's Dying Fetus, their album this year, Wrong One to Fuck With. I thought that was a great album. Unfortunately, it came out before we started our channel, so we didn't get a chance to review it. But I think it's great. It's probably up there with my favorite Dying Fetus albums. My favorite Dying Fetus album is Reign Supreme, by far. And I think this one is kind of in the same vein as Reign Supreme, just not quite as punchy, not quite as memorable, not quite as epic as Reign Supreme, but it's still up there. And the title track, Wrong One to Fuck With, is probably the best song on the album. It's just aggressive, mean. It just delivers what it's supposed to deliver. But that's probably it, man. That's some honorable mentions. You got my top 5 list. You got TV Fish's top 5 list. A lot of great stuff came out this year. I cannot stress that enough. But yeah, you know what? That's pretty much it for this video.
Yeah,
we've talked about a lot of stuff. We've been talking for a while now. So we should maybe wrap this up.
Yeah, there's nothing else. That's our top 5s of the year. Guys, remember to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you really like us.
Yeah.
And comment, tell us what your top 5 of the year was.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
I want to know what you all think of this year in metal, because there's so much. There's so much that people could put as their top 5.
Yeah, I'm interested to know what you guys think as well.
Yeah, but anyway, that's all there is. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be so much coming out in 2018.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff in 2018. We're gonna be really busy. Lots of stuff.
Bands like Deicide, Born of Osiris, Fear Factory, System of a Down, Dimmu Borgir, are all expecting albums, and I'm hyped for that.
I wonder if 2018 will be bigger than 2017 for metal.
Who knows?
It's shaping up. It's got potential.
It's good, exactly, with bands like Dimmu Borgir and System.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys. Vile and myself would like to wish you guys all happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Have a great New Year as well.
Have a great New Year. Thank you guys for sticking around for all of 2017. We'll be back in 2018 with awesome stuff. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.
Later.